This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 16th day of November in the year 2022. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. President Irfaan Ali today urged British investors to put their money in Guyana's infrastructure, housing, education, technology and agriculture sectors, promising that there will be incentives for those who invest now, even as his government works to reduce the cost of energy. The president made the call shortly after his Foreign Affairs Minister Hugh Todd signed the UK-Guyana Partnership Agreement with the British High Commissioner Jane Miller in the presence of the British Trade Commissioner to Latin America and the Caribbean Jonathan Knott. Addressing the UK trade mission at the Marriott Hotel, President Ali said there is also room for investment in the areas of health, research and development, tourism, manufacturing and agro-processing. He said investment in those key sectors will help Guyana to better position itself, even as it aims to reduce the cost of energy by 50% by 2025.
You don't want to be coming on stream when that occurs, and it will occur. I'm telling you, 2025, 50% cut in energy costs. That's the policy. You need to have your infrastructure in place for manufacturing, industrial development, and understanding the geographic significance of Guyana and the market that we're connected to. Because Guyana is going to become a major industrial manufacturing agro-processing hub.
Those who invest now, the president said, will benefit from various incentives.
And we're going to give the incentives during this phase of development for investors who are coming in to make use of this opportunity. But that phase won't last forever.
And describing the phase as the period of actualization, President Ali reasoned that though investors in the manufacturing, industrial development and agro-processing sectors may not immediately receive overwhelming profits, they will benefit significantly in the long run.
And when we finish the national strategy on gas, when that comes on stream, that is going to have enormous potential, not only for Guyana, but along the Guyana Shield. The prospects of northern Brazil being integrated into what we do here, especially as part of the logistic chain, will be key in improving our capacity and our level of production.
Meanwhile, the UK Trade Commissioner Jonathan Knott said the UK stands ready to support Guyana in its pursuit to achieve its vision of having transformational and sustainable economic growth that is faster, fairer and greener. The UK-Guyana Partnership Agreement is expected to give rise to the formation of a joint working group, and it's Mr. Knott's expectation that the working group will define and deliver a time-bound action plan. He urged the joint working group to also focus in the areas of infrastructure, education and technology, and he spoke of British companies helping Guyana to achieve its visions. He made it clear, however, that the UK will not compromise in standards and quality. British High Commissioner Jane Miller said the move to deepen and strengthen economic partnerships with Guyana stemmed from President Ali's visit to the UK in April and his meeting with the then Prime Minister of the UK, Boris Johnson. More news coming up in just a moment.
It's been a long time coming. Overdue, some might say, but now that it's here, it will change life forever, and it is here to stay. The future is now, transforming Guyana into the 21st century. Introducing GTT Fiber. Experience internet connectivity like never before. Speeds you deserve at prices you can afford from a name you can trust. Sign up today. GTT Fiber is here. GTT. Together, we rise faster.
Giftland Office Max, we're all about customer satisfaction. Whether it's clothing and shoes for the ladies, gents, and kids, or for the latest electronics or hardware appliance, we're always thinking of satisfying you, our dear customers. Now you can shop online at www.giftlandofficemax.com or visit us at the Giftland Mall, where we're happy to serve each and every one of you.
Christmas. 'Tis the season to get what you've always wanted with a little help from Republic Bank. Same day approvals apply online. It's time to make it happen for yourself and your family. Get cash back for the best Christmas ever. Sorrel making, garlic posturing, ham and black cake eating. Now this is Christmas.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Mobil 1 is more than oil. It's many oils. It transforms at the molecular level. When cold, it's thicker than honey. When hot, it's thinner than water. Mobil 1 adapts and readapts to last longer. 16,000 kilometers between oil changes. That's your engine evolved.
Guyana is the authorized distributor of Mobil lubricants.
Get in the game with Buster. Win a full gaming setup, Xbox X, gaming chair, gaming speaker and headset, or any of over 60 weekly prizes like Oculus Quest 2, Mini 2 drone, Nintendo Switch, and many more top gaming prizes. Check below for details.
Welcome back. Let's tell you now that 38-year-old suspected Guyanese drug trafficker Dennis Edwards, also known as Death, has been extradited to the U.S. from the Dominican Republic to face drug trafficking charges. He was wanted in the U.S. for drug trafficking since 2012. Edwards was blocked from entering the Dominican Republic and deported after he arrived on the island on Monday. After he was refused entry and deported by the authorities in the Dominican Republic, he was placed on a U.S. government flight, arriving at the Newark Liberty Airport in New Jersey. He was arrested on his arrival by U.S. government authorities at the New Jersey airport and kept in custody. He has since been charged in an indictment from 2012 with conspiring to import 5 kilograms or more of cocaine from St. Martin into the U.S. He appeared in court on Tuesday before U.S. Magistrate Judge Edward Keel in the Newark Federal Court, and he was detained without bail. According to the court documents filed in the case and statements made in court, the U.S. government alleges that Edwards was part of a criminal conspiracy that arranged to import cocaine into the U.S. The conspiracy charge against Edwards carries a minimum penalty of 10 years in jail and a maximum of life in prison and a maximum fine of $10 million US. The U.S. Attorney credited special agents of the Department of Homeland Security, Homeland Security investigators under the direction of Special Agent in Charge Ricky Patel, and deputies of the U.S. Marshal Service and the Dominican Republic officials for their assistance with the case. The U.S. Attorney has thanked the officials in the Dominican Republic for the assistance. The government is represented by Assistant U.S. Attorney Rachel Navarro of the General Crimes Unit in Newark, New Jersey. News source understands that Edwards was being closely monitored by the U.S. and local authorities over the past 10 years. It is suspected that he traveled to the Dominican Republic from neighboring Suriname. Guyana will partner with Barbados for a massive investment in the creation of the region's first pharmaceutical industry. Prime Minister of Barbados Mia Mottley announced today during a press conference in Bridgetown. The deal will also see cooperation from Rwanda, the European Union Commission, the European Union Development Bank, and the World Health Organization. Already, Rwanda and Ghana have embarked on a similar pharmaceutical deal in Africa. Describing the creation of a pharmaceutical industry in the region as a game changer, the Barbadian Prime Minister said not only will the industry address the issue of pharmaceutical equity, but it will create jobs and set the stage for massive investments from the private sector.
But the platform for it has started from as early as April of this year. And the fact that the joint communique involved the President of the European Union Commission, the President of the European Investment Bank, the President of Rwanda, the President of Guyana, the Director General of the WHO, the head of the Susan Buffett Foundation, and myself, tells you that this is not speculative, that this is serious work in action.
Since the COVID-19 pandemic, both Prime Minister Motley and President Irfan Ali have been vocal on the issue of vaccine scarcity in the early stages of the pandemic and how countries were prioritizing vaccines for richer countries. They have both spoken at length about the need for the region to have its own pharmaceutical industry so that it can provide for its people when needed.
Through cooperation with Rwanda and President Kagame, with the European Union, and President von der Leyen herself came to the event. The European Investment Bank, President of the European Investment Bank himself, President Hoyer, came to the event. The President of Guyana, because Barbados and Guyana have to do it together. No single country can do it alone in the case of Africa.
Though the move is historic, the Prime Minister said the creation of the industry will be extremely complex, but she noted it is one that is necessary. Well, 6 months after the Home Affairs Minister Robeson Ben assured Guyanese that the country's DNA testing capabilities will be significantly improved, local testing remains a problem, with the crime chief Wendell Blanham complaining that currently the Guyana police force lacks the capacity to conduct DNA and toxicology testing. On Tuesday, the crime chief disclosed that the Guyana Forensic Science Laboratory currently lacks the capacity to conduct DNA and toxicology testing. The situation, he said, has resulted in a backlog of cases.
The lack of capacity to conduct DNA testing indeed is affecting us because many of the cases are before the courts and there is a huge backlog. It is quite expensive to send these samples overseas.
According to Mr. Blanham, there are approximately 20 cases that require DNA testing. Samples from some of those cases, however, have been sent to the U.S.
We were able to get some to a lab in Miami recently, but we still have a backlog and we're hoping that that situation can be resolved as early as possible.
Back in May, the Home Affairs Minister assured that with the procurement of new equipment valued at more than $300,000, the country would have been in a better position to do DNA testing. At the time, he said the equipment was due to arrive in the country soon. Meanwhile, the police force said that poor CCTV images and the country's porous borders and police corruption are among the other challenges facing the force. The crime chief said that for 2022 alone, 14 officers were charged. It was disclosed that one officer was charged with murder, 3 were charged with corruption, and 1 was charged with conspiracy to obstruct the course of justice. 2 others were charged for obstructing the course of justice, 1 for assaulting, causing bodily harm, and another with simple larceny. 2 others were charged for assault, and yet another officer was charged with larceny, while 2 are in the courts facing narcotics charges. Still, with all those challenges, the crime chief said on Tuesday that the force has actually seen a reduction in the number of serious crimes being committed in the country.
GBTI Quick Cash Christmas is back, just the way you like it. Get up to $500,000 easy for anything you want this Christmas. We ain't waiting on Santa. We buy and we own this Christmas. Apply at your nearest branch or online at www.gbtibank.com from October 15th to December 31st. GBTI, we see Christmas through your eyes. Terms and conditions apply.
A very Merry Guyanese Christmas.
It's November already and soon it will be Christmas, so we at John Lewis Styles are giving away one Amazon Echo show every week in November and every day in December. Stream music and videos, make video calls and control smart devices, alarms, reminders and lots more. Every $5,000 spent gives you a chance to win when you shop for clothing, footwear, watches, fragrances, handbags, luggage and accessories. So visit us on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles, simply different.
British High Commissioner to Guyana Jane Miller today said that while Guyanese can now travel to the UK without a visitor's visa, there are still some requirements for entry into the United Kingdom. While stating clearly that UK government officials do not comment on individual cases, the British High Commissioner urged Guyanese desirous of visiting the UK to check the requirements that are outlined on the British government's website, gov.uk, before they travel.
So yes, it's visa free, but there are requirements. People need to be able to have a return ticket or resources to buy a return ticket, resources to be there. It's all laid out very, very clearly in gov.uk. So I'd urge people to look at that.
Last week, a resident of Linden was denied entry into the UK by immigration officials there. His story was documented across social media as he was sent back to Barbados, which was his last departure port before reaching the UK. It is suspected that he was denied entry because of a lack of sufficient funds and the length of time he wanted to stay in the UK, as well as a lack of evidence for a return ticket. According to the UK government website, visitors must be able to show that they will return to their homeland upon the expiry of their ticket. They must also be able to support themselves and dependents during the course of their visit and must be able to pay for that return ticket. The International Court of Justice will begin public hearings in Guyana's case against Venezuela over the border controversy and its settlement since 1899. According to a statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here in Guyana, oral arguments will take place before the judges of the court from tomorrow until next Tuesday. The hearings will specifically deal with the preliminary objections raised by Venezuela in response to Guyana's submission of its memorial on the merits of the case. Back in 2018, Guyana took the matter to the ICJ for a final juridical settlement. Venezuela had challenged the court's jurisdiction to hear and determine the case and had vowed not to take part in the proceedings. The court rejected Venezuela's arguments and confirmed its jurisdiction to hear the matter. In March of this year, Guyana filed its memorial on the merits of its case against Venezuela in accordance with the order of the 8th of March of the court. Venezuela subsequently filed preliminary objections to the admissibility of Guyana's application to the court to determine the validity of the 1899 arbitral award. In accordance with the rules, the court suspended the proceedings on the merits until the determination by the court of the matter of Venezuela's preliminary objections. In a statement, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said the people of Guyana have remained firmly united in the quest to preserve Guyana's sovereignty and territorial integrity. To this end, the statement said the government invited the leader of the opposition to name a representative from the combined opposition to be part of Guyana's delegation to The Hague. Ambassador Ronald Austin Sr. was named by the opposition to be part of that delegation. Venezuela has long said that it preferred the matter to be settled through dialogue with Guyana. But Guyana has accused Venezuela of engaging in intimidation tactics and opted for the International Court in accordance with the recommendation of the UN Secretary General. Guyana has retained several high-profile international lawyers to present its case before the ICJ, with Sir Sridhar Ramphal being the country's co-agent and lead counsel in the case. Several high-profile officials, including the Attorney General Anil Nandlal, Minister of Governance Gil Teixeira, and agent on the border case Carl Greenwich, have traveled to the Netherlands to hear the arguments at the court's headquarters. The matter will also be live-streamed on the court's website during the hearing.
Census takers are visiting communities across Guyana and collecting information from every household. This information will help the government to plan better for our country's development. All the information shared will be treated as strictly confidential, and everyone is asked to participate. No one should be alarmed about any question asked, because the answers provided will help to improve living standards, decrease community crime rates, and improve access to housing and healthcare, among other benefits.
The census gives us the tool to identify some of these important gaps that exist across communities, within communities, and across regions, so that we can have targeted intervention.
Yeah, we counting way from region 1 to region 10, the whole country. Yeah, we counting way.
Food Max Supermarket, located on the ground floor at the Giftland Mall, is your one-stop shop for all your grocery needs. We stock a variety of imported frozen meat and food products, fresh produce, and pet supplies, freshly made bread. Rotisserie chicken and patties are also available daily. Shop in comfort today at Food Max and let our courteous staff assist you in satisfying your shopping needs. Food Max, the fresh food specialist.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Get in the game with Buster. Win a full gaming setup, Xbox X, gaming chair, gaming speaker and headset, or any of over 60 weekly prizes like Oculus Quest 2, Mini 2 drone, Nintendo Switch, and many more top gaming prizes. Check below for details.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up, fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up, protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight, Cuba and the U.S. are making progress in talks aimed at curbing a migration crisis that saw a record number of Cubans arrive at the U.S. border last year. But those advances are not enough to stem the tide, Cuba's top diplomat in the talks has said. The Deputy Foreign Minister Carlos Fernandez de Cosia told reporters that despite steps in the right direction, the U.S. had yet to address the root of the problem. He said Cuba reiterated its concern about the U.S. measures that encourage illegal immigration. The U.S. State Department said the talks provide an opportunity for discussions on mutual implementation of migration accords signed between the two countries. The Deputy Foreign Minister of Cuba said one key obstacle was the U.S. Cold War-era embargo, a web of U.S. laws and regulations that complicate business and financial transactions with Cuba. Talks between the two countries resumed back in April. The Haitian government has joined the United Nations and other humanitarian partners in launching a $145.6 million appeal to support the Caribbean country's emergency cholera response. The UN said the appeal aims to provide life-saving assistance to 1.4 million people living in the most affected areas in Haiti. After more than 3 years without a reported case in Haiti, the UN said national authorities back in October reported 2 new confirmed cases of cholera in the metropolitan area of the capital, Port-au-Prince. As of Monday, the Ministry of Public Health and Population reported more than 8,500 suspected cases of cholera, with 802 of those cases confirmed and 161 deaths across the country. In a statement, the UN said cholera is a preventable and treatable disease, and based on the experience and expertise, national institutions in Haiti quickly put together a response strategy. But there is need for more funds. And finally tonight, international news. The BBC reports that Brazil is back. President-elect Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has told crowds at the UN Climate Summit in Egypt. Walking into a room of supporters, Lula promised to restore the Amazon rainforest and chase down climate criminals. Huge numbers gathered to see him speak, making him one of the superstars of the summit. Nations are meeting in Egypt to discuss tackling climate change. Just 2 weeks after his narrow election win, Lula is making his first appearance on the international stage, meeting leaders including from the US, China, and the EU at the climate conference. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to have a safe and enjoyable evening. Good night.